the book of Acts all over again. Sedition. Giving all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Kodash. Now I put some things together based around the word sedition. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the definition of sedition. Sedition is overt conduct, such as speech, and that's what we do. We go out there and we speak on the highways and the byways. We do the sit-downs, and within the last couple of days, they've been taking down certain videos that we've been putting up dealing with a particular subject, and we had did videos on this same subject, Revelation 13. In the past, we did full hour, 2-hour videos on that particular subject, going back 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, and they never took the videos down. Now when we use that particular term, the MO, they take the video down. There was a video put up by RT concerning DARPA, and what I did was I attempted to put the video up, and it didn't even go up. It was taken down in the middle of me putting the video up, uploading the video. Now the elder menace, he had put up the same video, then he had said a few words behind the video, and they let his video go up, and I was going to put a comment in there that they're going to take it down, and sure enough, the next day they took it down. So this is coming to stage, the second stage of this thing that they're doing. And if you're new to this thing and you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to really get into these videos and go into some of the older videos. And you ones that's been into this thing, this truth for X amount of years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, sedition is overt conduct such as speech and organization that tends toward rebellion against the established order. Sedition often includes subversion of a constitution, which are the laws, their laws, and incitement of discontent toward or insurrection against established authority. This is 2nd Ezra, and the word, I put in the word sedition, and I knew this precept was going to come up. Sedition is found in the regular Bible, let's say, but in the Apocrypha is only the word sedition is in there one time. 2nd Ezra 15 verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, we're talking about now, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings. Your modern day kings and princes are who? Your governors, the president, the mayors, these governmental leaders. It says they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So don't be surprised if you see people breaching a leader of this society and grabbing them up. It's going to get, hey, we had a taste of it some excuse me, sometime last year around the thing and the situation with what's his name, George Floyd. Which, when you go back a year and a half, a year ago, started around May. You had the Black Lives Matter movement. You had the Antifa. You had the Proud Boys. You had the two factions. What I mean by that is you had the left side and you had the right side going against each other, and the government, which for the most part was set up and staged, in my belief. And it's going to happen again, but this time it's going to be more intense. Now, if you're a speaker, now the word sedition, I read the word sedition, basically means if you speak and it riles people up. I'll give you another example. Khalid Muhammad had a march in Harlem, and he has made some statements about if the cops have guns, take their guns and use their guns on them. And it was a mini riot that took place. Well, that's an act of sedition. So when they sentenced Paul to death in the Apostle Peter, they did it because he was guilty of sedition. Because when you go back to the history 2,000 years ago, people got riled up. Acts 24 verse 5. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews. And that's what we're doing now. We're speaking the words, and people are getting riled up among all, and then people are going to really get riled up when because what they're doing now with this thing, with this jab, they're making it a law. You can't go into certain stores, you can't do this, and they're going to add law unto law, ordinance unto ordinance. So when and then we're going to have to tell the people, don't comply with what they're saying. So that's making us, that's putting a spirit of rebellion against the government, because the government's always right. Well, the government says it means this and it means that, and you got to take this because it's going to help other people. Well, we don't believe that. So when they add more laws and ordinances, and maybe they're going to have another lockdown, it's going to rouse people up. It's happening in France, Germany, different European nations. And then you have people that are saying that it's the Revelation 13:16. People that are not so-called Hebrew Israelites. You got Christians saying it, like the Bible Belt Christians. The Christians, a lot of Edomites. And Edomites that are into the scriptures are a lot smarter than Jake in general. The children of this world are wiser than the children of light. Of light. So it says, let me read this again. It says, for we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world. Now that word world is oikomene, meaning that area. So Jake was riled up, Edomites were riled up, and you had Edomites that actually believed this truth, was following the Israelites and fought against them. During the time of Titus coming against Israel, you had Edomites fighting against Titus, another Edomite, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. I'm gonna read this real quick. It says charges against Paul. The lawyer Tertullus begins his presentation with a flourish of undeserved flattery of the corrupt Felix. Then he lays out the charges. According to Tertullus, Paul is a troublemaker. It says a public menace, stirring up riots, because us, with this thing coming out that I've been talking about, that we here at GMS been talking about for years, which we were always right on, this is going to stir things up, because now you have to actually physically take something that the government is going to give you and trust the government. So it's going to cause a stir around the world. Among the Jews, wherever he goes, while troublemaker sounds overly general to us, one who causes riots and sedition, there goes the word sedition, is a threat to the Roman peace. It would be a serious charge before a Roman procurator, if it could be substantiated. Well, ultimately it was substantiated, because they ultimately put him to death. It goes on to say, too, ringleader of Nazarene sect. The term sect as used here is not a pejorative term. It look up pejorative. It means party, school, faction. Now, in Israel, you have factions. You have the IUIC, you have the ISUPK, you have the HOI, you have the LOI, then you have the HODC, then you have GMS. These are different factions, man. You have factions back then, and you have factions now. A group that holds tenets distinctive to it. Right, but the same belief. That's why certain Israelites get with ISUPK, because they like what they say. But there's going to be a major stir when they set up those stations for you to get hit, so to speak. Also applied to this Sadducees, which is another group, and the Pharisees, which Paul was a Pharisee. He actually said that. Attempt to desecrate the temple. Now that goes into a whole different argument concerning Paul leading the Greeks into the temple. They weren't Greeks, they were Israelites that were waking up to the fact that they were Israelites, because they were lost. Because now you got to go into the history of the Maccabees, mainly First Maccabees 1, and read that whole chapter, how they forced them to not be Israelites. And the same thing gonna go with this jab. So we're heading into turbulent times. Things are gonna get shook up. The world's gonna get shook up, man. This prophecy is gonna come to pass before the main prophecy come to pass, which is the deliverance. and the destruction of Esau. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.